Hello, dear friends. Well, we are at the home stretch of our series on keeping it green by incorporating ways to protect ourselves from the toxic world that we live in. The ubiquitous chemicals found in our food, our environment, our personal care products, and our cleaning agents can create havoc in our body, and they've been linked to various health issues. These are sneaky contributors to disease processes. They create a barrier to the vitality and healing responses that we all desire, even if we are on the best treatment for our symptoms. This is why I feel it's vital that we educate ourselves to take steps to decrease the harmful impact of these substances. This will enhance our overall wellness and make our essential oils, lifestyle interventions, and supplements all the more effective. In part one of the series, we began reviewing my resource guide for greener living. I highlighted the most important points to consider when living in a toxic environment. Next, we discussed how to nourish our bodies and feed them with clean and nutrient dense foods to decrease our total chemical burden. In part two, we reviewed 9 tips for cleaning yourself in your house with safe substances. Specifically, we looked at how to avoid unnecessary exposures in the home and how to purchase safer personal care products, consumer products, and cleaning products. Now we're in the final section. We're going to discuss why we need to purify our water, various water filtration systems, and my personal preferences for water filtration. As always, the references and links to previous clinical tips will be in the resource section. So let's get started. The solution to pollution is dilution. We always hear how important it is to hydrate ourselves. And hydration is important for a variety of different reasons, but what if it's causing more harm than good by what we're consuming in our water? One of the most important areas for avoiding toxins, I feel, and one of the most influential, is through purifying our water. In a recent article on water quality and revitalizing the source, published in NDNR, the author states that the water in our bodies is high quality water. It supports metabolism and DNA function, enables a transfer into cells and waste products out, maintains pH, and facilitates electrical communication between cells. This is why it's important to consider the implications of the source of the water in our bodies and why we need to create high quality water. We do not want to bring toxins in and not be able to filter them out through what we are drinking. The referenced publication further discusses the negative consequences of relying on even bottled or spring water, which we may think is more pure. Water essentially becomes a processed food when it goes from spring to package. It may be filtered, subjected to ultraviolet light ionization, or boiling to ensure freedom from viral or microbial contamination, which is a good thing. But after this processing, water can contain toxic volatile organic compounds like benzene and carbon tetrachloride, as well as organic toxins like lead and cadmium. And if you're drinking municipal water, it has its pitfalls as well, and it can't be relied on for being toxic free. As referenced in the article, water supplies vary greatly in hardness and dissolved contaminants in them, whether from a well or municipal sources. Of most concern are toxic radioactive or heavy metals such as arsenic, uranium, or lead. Excess calcium or other minerals can also create hard water. And even though municipal water is filtered for pollutants and treated for infectious agents, it can still contain pharmaceutical drugs or other metabolites. So, all this being said, we definitely want to avoid drinking all of these toxins that could potentially be in our water source. How do we do this? So, this can be accomplished by removing contaminants, by purifying our water. There are several options to do this. This includes reverse osmosis, activated carbon, ultraviolet light, and distillation. A combination of these is usually best and often available in most water filtration products. I have a list of various filter types and what they remove. The content that I found on this is by one of my environmental medicine instructors in naturopathic school, and then I did some additional resource to back it up. Now, before we go through the different filter types, I just wanted to give you a little bit of an FYI. Any distilled water or filtration processes, when they do this process, a lot of times the minerals are removed when they're removing the contaminants. So if you are purifying your water, the only thing is to be mindful of consuming additional minerals and electrolytes as well on a daily basis. All right, let's look into the different purifying options and what they remove. We'll start with reverse osmosis. This usually eliminates particles, pollens, human hairs, gross, right? Yeast, bacteria, and solvents. If we move on to carbon filters, it either removes or reduces odors, colors, solvents, chlorine and fluorine, pesticides, volatile solvents, and cyanotoxins, which are toxins from blue-green algae. Ion exchange removes heavy metals, salts, minerals, and really just about everything. Steam distillation can remove heavy metals, microorganisms, bacteria, sediment, minerals, and contaminants. And it can also contain volatile organics, unfortunately, like gasoline, if you don't use it in combination with a carbon filter. It can't also remove substances with a lower boiling point than water, because that's what's used for the distillation process. Ceramic filters take out algae and protozoa. And UV light class A systems use UV light as a filter. To work, these filters need to have a slow passage of water going through so that the light particles can contact that which is to be killed. The method is often used mostly for hot tubs to remove microbes. It won't remove metals or solvents. So what are my recommendations for water filtration systems? I personally am a fan of Berkey filters due to its quality and ability to remove a wide array of dangerous compounds. I also love AquaTrue for the same reason and their convenience and multi-system filtration. I have no affiliation with these two actually, but I do have these products myself and me and my family use them. Now, if we look at the Berkey, which was the main water filter that I started with, I just want to kind of give you a rundown of why I like it. It consists of 6 media types, and this results in a matrix of microscopic pores that trap pathogenic bacteria, cysts, parasites, sediment, and materials. Then it has adsorption and absorption qualities within its filtration system that create an ionic barrier for certain viruses. It uses ion exchange, so it's going to remove heavy metals and most contaminants. And it has a gravity flow for optimizing the removal rate to make sure that it's removing everything at the proper speed. I have a list of all of the compounds that it filters, including pharmaceuticals, in the resource section as well as in the accompanying transcript. Now, what about revitalizing water, a word that I mentioned? So after you purify your water, one of the biggest trends right now is also revitalizing it to upgrade it even more. This is a process that restructures water in the form that nature intended it. To accomplish this, water must be sent through a flow form apparatus, and it uses a precise vortex pattern to revitalize the water. It's been said to increase bioavailability of the water and has been shown to have an array of positive systemic effects. So there are some studies on this, guys, and I will include some links in the article reference section. Honestly, this is something I need to study more. I personally am still using the old school stirring it in a vortex pattern, but I probably need to do more. All right. So that is a wrap up on our Cleaner and Greener resource series. Thank you for taking the time to stick with me and empower you and your loved ones with this health information. Again, I will have all the links because I went through that kind of fast. But basically, if we summarize today, what you want to do is look for a water purifier that kind of has multi-steps in it so you know that your bases are covered. All right, and it's one of the most important things to do, maybe your number one first step. Diet, we talked about consumer products, and now we're talking about water. Now you can always come back to the posts in the series as you move through the steps. I think it's probably best if you just do one thing at a time so you don't get overwhelmed. And by the end of the year, you could have a completely green, clean house and personal care regime. So little tiny baby steps add up in kind of a short period of time, right? Because if you don't do anything now, you'll still be doing the same thing maybe 10 years later, and you won't have a cleaner, greener home and personal care regime in a year. So each small action today is actually an investment in your health in the future. So I want you to have a happier, more rejuvenating life. And I love to talk about different topics, but I really wanted to bring in the series because if we aren't removing the barriers to cure about some of the contributors to the symptoms, even if we're getting to the root cause of the organ system cause or where the imbalances are, it's really hard to create total health and vitality and stay healthy. So thank you so much again. I hope that you have a beautiful day and that you remember to take nice, gentle care of yourself.